What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing Mortal Shell. Now, I should say, full transparency, that this code was provided to me by the developers, but that's not going to change anything, based off of what I'm going to say. Look, I don't do review scores. I don't actually give a score at the end of these things. I more or less talk about my impressions of the game, if you guys should end up buying it or not, what I think of it. And let me tell you, this was a game that wasn't on my radar. I mean, I'll be honest, it wasn't on my radar past maybe like a few weeks ago. Once the beta got going and a lot of people jumped into it, it seemed like things really started picking up. And I think a game like this, a game that's like the Souls games, really, right, from Softwares, I think that it kind of carries it. I really do. I think that, honestly, being in that genre unlocks a kind of fandom that you don't always get if you're part of another kind of genre of games. And so, jumping into this game, well, look, I'm not very good at these Souls games. I never have been. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, even if you want to look at the rest of the From Software games, Sekiro, all that stuff, I'm just flat out Bloodborne. I'm just flat out not good at them. This game, I mean, I'm going to continue my streak of not being good at, but what I will say about this game is I do like it. I think, coming out very early and saying that, I think this is a very, very solid game, especially for the price that it is. It's only a $30 game, and it ends up being around, now I haven't beaten it, okay, I have not beaten this game, but it's around 12 to 15 hours long. So I would say, personally, in terms of length per, in comparing it to how much you're paying for this game, I think it's a pretty solid price. Also, again, just the way that the game plays, well, look, I think this game obviously speeds up the Souls kind of games. In my opinion, Sekiro, Bloodborne, when those games came out and people had talked about them as saying, okay, well, some of these games are faster Souls games, right? They're changed up. Well, I think saying that doesn't give them all that much credit, okay? I think that they do that, but they also have things of their own. What I'll say about Mortal Shell is I think largely it really is as if you just sped up Demon Souls or like the first couple Dark Souls. Now, I haven't played all of those games through to completion, so I'm sure people that are very picky with those things, I'm sure they can come in and say, okay, well, it's not exactly like those games. And obviously, this is a game on its own. It's got its own parrying mechanic. It's got the shell mechanic where you can literally harden yourself up. Now, I have not gotten good at how to actually do that and how to kind of apply that in battle. But again, I think the faster pace of this game is honestly its biggest draw. I think there is something with the shell kind of mechanic, and also when you die, when you lose all of your health, you basically get blasted, like your soul gets blasted from the shell, and you have basically one opportunity to get back into that shell. If you get hit before you do that, then you're out, right? And you have to kind of restart it. So, I mean, it's got the unforgiveness that the other, that the Souls games that you would kind of expect from a genre like this. You go back pretty far, the enemies respawn, stuff like that. Depends on where, obviously, like your last save point or last kind of checkpoint was, but there's always going to be something to that, okay? And again, coming from someone like me, this may not even matter at the end. I would say this, from someone like me, these are not games that I'm ever going to be good at, okay? They're honestly never even games that I'm going to say, like, they're masterpieces because I just, get so engrossed in them. At the end of the day, again, coming from someone like me, it may not mean all that much to even be, talking about my impressions of it. But what I will say is a game like this, and I do say this quite often, look, games like this do have to grab the people in the genre. And I truly do believe if you are a fan of the Souls games or the From Software games in general, I do think this game is actually a really solid thing that you should absolutely look at. I really don't think there's any doubt in my mind. You see it going across the internet. It's a pretty popular game, and it's got, I think, the basic mechanics, literally just the core of this game, I think works with the genre it's trying to do. So you're going to get people that are into these kind of games. Now, a thing with a game like this, a game like Mortal Shell, $30, smaller game, you got to be able to get people, too, that are outside of it. And that's what the From Software games, I think, have always kind of strived to do as well. Is you can get the people that love the unforgiveness and love just being constantly massacred in games like this, right? And the challenge that kind of comes with that. But you also need to get people outside of that realm to jump in. Otherwise, your games are going to stay at like the same amount of player, the same player base, going forward. So for Mortal Shell, what I'll say is coming from someone that doesn't really play these games all that much or has played them all but never plays all that much of them, right? Because I just die so many times or I get so frustrated. This game I do think has a really solid curve to it where it, it looks pretty bleak, and the color scheme is a little weird. It's not, I mean, we got to be honest with each other, right? It's not the most beautiful game of all time. Like, it definitely doesn't look like a 2020 game. You know, we talk about some of the great games, visual games that have come out this year. You look at, like, Final Fantasy VII and The Last of Us, and even open world games like Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, I get they're all different. You can't really compare games that are outside of genres all that much, especially with this. But this game doesn't look all that amazing. The color scheme is a little bit weird, right? A little bit like bland, like a little like black and gray kind of. But again, coming from somebody outside of it, I feel like there's a real hook there where the speed of this game is absolutely its biggest strength. I always feel like when I die, I'm ready to immediately jump back into it because it's like I can do it, or at least even if I can't do it, I can at least get back there relatively quickly. And I always feel like you're kind of learning something, you're always kind of getting better. And again, I think the speed of the game helps. So I don't know, I haven't watched any review, I haven't watched any literal coverage of this game since I got it. I don't know if that's kind of a thing that people are saying as its main, kind of draw. Maybe it's the shell. Obviously there's 4 different shells that each kind of have a different play style. I mean, there definitely is things in this game that kind of amplify it and do and by the way, again, absolutely do make it different. This is not a skin of Dark Souls or, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, any of that stuff. It's, it's very close to those games, but it obviously has its own core things that make it different. And I honestly feel like they're pretty darn good, especially even, again, for the price point. Now, you could say it's unfair because I didn't even pay for it. But if I were to tell you, you can get a game roughly what Demon Souls, Dark Souls, all those games are, it's got its own thing. You may like it, more if you're, a specific kind of player. If you like the speed, maybe if you don't love the fact that those games are so difficult, but you've always wanted to give them a chance, and maybe if they were just a little bit faster, I'm sure there are those people. And then if I were told you could get that for $30 for half the price of a full game, I think you would go for it. So this is honestly a game I would recommend. If you're into that, I honestly, if you're not into it at all, or if you're not into giving games that are outside of your genre games a chance, well, then obviously this game isn't for you. But if you've played these From Software games and you've at least mildly enjoyed it, and you're always kind of willing to give them a chance, I think this one is a fit. I feel like, again, a game like this is kind of safe. I don't know if that's a good thing to say, or like it kind of whatever you kind of think about it. Is that a positive thing to say? Is that a negative thing to say? I think it's positive. I think it does a lot of things safe, but also branches out kind of where it needs to, where it's not literally like nobody's going to accuse this of like that they copyrighted, or they stole literally assets from the from software. No one's going to say that, but it is close enough where you feel very comfortable. And if you've played those games, I think you absolutely, by the way, I think you'll have an edge in this game, which I do also think is important. So overall, $30, solid game for the genre it's in. I would say if you're interested in it, absolutely, this is a buy. We're getting into more busy time for gaming, but still, right now, it's a little bit dead. I get this game obviously came out last week. I get this review is late, but I really do think this is a game worth a lot of people's time. I truly do. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. Have you played Mortal Shell? Are you interested in getting it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you all on the next video.